puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. We are 2 days removed from Christmas, and my favorite gift here is watching the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 Saturday series. My name is Mac Nelson, as always, and with me tonight, the new duo is born. I haven't been with them yet, but I'm hoping tonight is a very good debut. My man Alex Goldschmidt up here in the booth with me. Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Mac. I hope everyone had happy holidays over the last couple of days. Yeah, it's been it's about 4 in the morning here in the United Kingdom, where I'm currently based in the east of England. But what a opportunity to be alongside you for this broadcast. Of course, it's week 4 of the Breaking Bad Pushing the Limits here at V.I.R. Of course, a circuit that is known globally. It's got a lot of recognition. You know, you see the amount of championships that have been through this as well. When you look at, say, for instance, IMSA with the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR, GT Americas, you've got the Trans Am, Motor America, SCCA runoffs, NASCAR K&M Pro Series East with the Biscuitville 125. It is a circuit that really needs no introduction.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't had the pleasure of going here in real life, but on the sim here on the iRacing service, man, it is an absolute blast to drive. It's somewhere where a lot of people in the iRacing community, they say, you know, that might be a week I skip, you know, V.I.R. really isn't for me. But for me, this is one of the times where I make sure it's a priority. I boot up the rig, boot up the wheel, the pedals, all that stuff, and, you know, I get to action here on V.I.R., so I'm really excited to see what happens here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, also V.I.R.'s a track that's, you know, had a lot of history. It was opened back in August of 1957. Then it was closed in 1974, and then just under 26 years ago, it was reopened. So, you know, it had the honor of running the SCCA National Sports Car Championship until the series demise in 1964. But, you know, this is a track that really needs to be respected. You've got to be very, very careful around here, especially at the S's going through into Oak Tree, where there is no Oak Tree any longer to speak of. It's just the name of one of the corners. But, you know, this is where, you know, we're at the halfway point. This is week 4 out of 8. We've got VIR tonight, but then January 3rd, just after we see in 2026 with a bang, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, Daytona Road Course. On January 10th, January 17th, we go to the streets of Long Beach, which is always a test for everybody, especially in GT3s. And then Sebring closes out the series on January 24th. But this particular track here, it's, you know, when you go like through Hog Pen at turn 17, after coming through the roller coaster section, you've got that nice little blast up the front stretch and through into Horseshoe. But then it's after that's where the technicality and having that balance between performance and also handling on these GT3 cars is going to make all the difference over the 60-minute race.
Yeah, I agree. I hope these drivers didn't take too much wing, because, wow, these straights are going to be where a lot of time is made up, in my personal opinion. It's what I see, you know, when I'm on the service. I'm very intrigued to see how these drivers tackle it here tonight, and see if it's the corners or the straights where people are making a lot of positions up.
Yeah, I mean, down the back stretch coming out of Oak Tree, heading into the roller coaster, you know, you're going to see these cars top out at anywhere between high 150 mile an hour to about 162. I've been seeing through the speed trap at the moment. Broughton Jones, the number 33, is currently running P10 in the qualifying session, has registered 163.5 miles an hour in the BMW M4 GT3. So I think Chet Miller in the Corvette Z06 GT3R is currently P3 behind Jed Cotterman in the Porsche, and Aaron Sanford in the 958 Lamborghini Huracan. He's gone in and gone more than 160 miles an hour in the speed trap. He's done 162.5. As we clap our eyes on the number 30 of Jeff Sarders, currently running P6 in the session at the moment. So for those that are new to this particular series, welcome along, and thank you for joining us live on the Racer Nexus Broadcast Network, live here on YouTube. So please, if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe button. We have a cap of a 1500 I rating. iRacing will throw yellows when required. 2 quick repairs for each race, unlimited tyre usage, fuel caps at 65%, which means the drivers will have to do a mandatory pit stop. And there's open setups. More to the point, the drivers are allowed to change the cars twice during the season. Now, you and I know, Mac, that if it was you get a ride in GT World Challenge Americas, if you're in a car for the season, you're in that car for the season. Whereas here, at this particular racing league, they decided, well, let's open up the variety. And they do say that variety when it comes to GT3 cars is the spice of life, of course.
Yeah, of course, and not gonna hit the pocketbooks as much in the service as it would in real life, but yeah, these guys, if they're not feeling the McLaren one week, they can whip out the Porsche, they can bring it through, and if not, hey, you never know, maybe that Ford Mustang, it dominated the official series here on iRacing in the last season, so, people are trying to, make it work here in this 2026 season number 1, but who knows? Who knows what car is going to come out on top? It's been a different one every single week.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that because they got the new tyre model as well, for another thing that we need to mention to the folks at home that are watching, it is a 15-minute qualifying session. You've got 3 laps for your closed qualifying session. It will be a 60-minute sprint from the minute we go lights out here for week 4 out of 8. But at the moment, Kenneth Copping in the number 81 Mustang, no lap time set because all 3 of his lap times have been invalidated due to track limits. There's Jesse Chase in the 323 Ferrari 296. He's currently on his 2nd lap here in the qualifying session, just about to make his way through towards the S's and heading into Sector 2. He's done a personal best in Sectors 1 and 2. First lap didn't register on the live timing. Jeffrey Strong in the number 17 Ferrari 296 hasn't also set a lap time, so they're probably going to find themselves at the back end of the grid. We've had news from Shahan Karim in the number 111 Mustang. He's just done an 8-hour race, so chapeau to him, but he's also said that my iRacing's bugging out a little bit, so he's not going to take part with us next week, so hopefully we'll see Shahan back with us at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca on January 1st, but again here at V.I.R. Mac, as we're heading into the final 3 minutes and 3 minutes plus change, Jed Cotterman in the number 7 Porsche 992 GT3R is leading the way, but by a comfortable margin ahead of Aaron Sanford. I mean, 0.27 of a second. So Jed's really got that Porsche dialed in here at V.I.R. at the moment.
Yeah, and Jed Cotterman, someone who in all of these weeks of the Breaking Bad, pushing limits. It's a new name, man. It's got to come off the tongue. I've got to break it in. I've got to season it in. But Jed Cotterman has been an absolute beast in these races. Road America, Road Atlanta, both of those tracks he was extremely potent in, and I mean overtakes galore. I mean, up the grid, he has just been amazing, and he's really amazing when it comes to those heavy braking zones after a long straight, which, like you said towards the top of the broadcast, Alex, that is going to be a lot here at Virginia. I mean, these guys going into the roller coaster, like you said, it's going to be a test, and I think Jed Cotterman might just come out on top of that test.
Yeah, also in the meantime, Jamie MacArthur in the number 75 Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo has just punched his ticket up to P7 on the grid. And that was a good lap there by the number 75 from Canada, 1:47.1. So we are seeing a big spread in terms of the qualifying side of things, but also there's one thing that we need to talk about here, Mac, with regards to V.I.R. Pit stops are incredibly crucial.
Yeah, I agree. Very, very long pitch straight too. So, yeah, you've got to nail it.
So we're coming to the final minutes and 20 seconds as Jesse Chase comes down the back stretch into the roller coaster. So it's a bit of a blind overhead crest. It's a bit like, you know, a lot of tracks nowadays where they have these undulations that you have a blind apex you've got to aim towards, and then the next one comes in, then you're up another incline again, and then down the hill once more. But then as you see the Ferrari 296 GT3 power out of the final corner, you're going to try and keep it as far as you can towards the left-hand wall, to the right-hand side, but then allow the car to drift out to the left to get the run into the horseshoe. And Jesse Chase has gone in and posts the 13th quickest lap time. So he's got the opportunity, I think, maybe for another lap. But at this stage, I would say that the server timer for qualifying might run out before he hits the checkered.
Yeah, and that might be something that he is going to see as well, as he is going to take a little bit of grass on his way into turn 3, I believe that was. But around the bend, he's going to get a little bit more practice, but going to be an invalidated lap at the end of the day. So he is going to sit with that 151.53 and P13, it looks like, for our green flag here tonight.
Yep, so the counter timing down here for the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 iRacing League, and that is it. Server has timed out for qualifying, as you can see. Temperature for the air, 64 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius, and we're a lot north of that, about 112. But as you can see, the weather has changed. 18 degrees centigrade, 64 degrees Fahrenheit for the air temperature. And then the track temperature, 32 degrees centigrade, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, it's actually gone up. It's gone up to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. So these unlimited tyres that these drivers are going to have at their disposal is going to be rather, rather handy. And we have got a brief warm-up, but I think, as you said, Jed Cotterman for the Cotterman iRacing team in the number 7 Porsche dominated the opening 2 rounds of the season. It is going to be the case of he's going to be the one that's got the bullseye on his rear wing, I would say there, Mac.
Yeah, Jed Cotterman for sure, one of those guys. I'm looking up and down through this grid here. Faraz Ibrahim, the Canadian driver, always going to be great. I believe Joel Baptista was with us at Road Atlanta and then maybe missed out on Road America. That could have been another Brazilian driver that I'm thinking of, but I don't think it was. So Joel Baptista, he is very, very quick in that Ford Mustang. And another one as well, Jeffrey Strong, who has made the switch. I don't believe he was in a Ferrari to start this season. So very, could be a proactive. It could be disadvantageous. You never really know with him.
No, it's always about how he settles into the new machinery that he's piloting at the moment. So from that aspect, it is the case of just seeing how things go. You know, sometimes when you change a car, you are a little bit on the fly, and you have to sort of hope that you put your best foot forward. But of course, this will mean that the drivers that have changed cars, that have moved chariots, so to speak, will be up against it, and they'll be like thinking, okay, have I put the wheel time in? Have I got the setup right? Is it going to cause me a problem? Well, when we go green and head into the horseshoe for the first time at turn 1, it's anybody's guess as to how the race itself is going to play out. And if Jed Cotterman gets the whole shot on the start when we go green and leaves everyone in his dust going through the horseshoe and into NASCAR Bend, for instance, at turn 3, he's going to be a very, very difficult man to catch.
Yeah, and I mean, especially, like we said, can't take too much wing. You've got to be fast on those straights. And if Jed Cotterman has built his car right and can still get out quick in that clean air in the straight, yeah, I mean, you might be right. It might just be a checkout session for him.
Also, we do have to say a big thank you to trackcams22.com for the camera angles that we have here on the Racer Nexus broadcast. Also, if you want to have a look at a little bit of a discount for you, if you want to get some goodies for your sim rig and other bits and pieces and paraphernalia and accessories, head to the referral link down in the description below for the Apex Sim Racing shop and use the coupon code on checkout Racer Nexus for 5% off all purchases. So the link is in the description down below. On checkout, use coupon code RacerNexus for 5% off all purchases from our good friends at Apex Sim Racing shop. And I mean, one of the good things is I like that Raccoon Sim Racing and the raccoon's head definitely showing on the livery for Jeff Sanders there in the number 30 McLaren. I mean, that's one of the other things. I keep on saying this in pretty much every sim racing broadcast I do, Mac, that the kind of liveries that we tend to see on the grids is absolutely wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're class. And, you know, Jesse Chase here, who we see, that's a nice little MARL livery there in the chrome. You got, look, Kenneth Coping as well in that number 81 Mustang. That is clean. That's giving me Tron Legacy vibes. And just a little information here, just had it buzzed up to me from the higher ups. Shout out to Eufaula Pulpwood Company. That is going to be your sponsor for the rest of the season. I have no idea when the deal was inked, when it was done. It just came through my headset from the higher ups. Shout out Rob Campbell, the greatest producer in the game, for anybody who is not aware yet. So big shout out once again to Eufaula Pulpwood Company. EPCO is their short name. Forestry Management and Timber Dealership. So very, very good if you need your wood. Hey, it's end of the year, man. Those wood stoves are about to get fired up. You're going to need some firewood. Yeah. Hey, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you've got some real fir trees in your home around at Christmas and you need to get shot of them, there you go. There's your opportunity. Meantime, we're counting down the seconds. Yeah, very much with Kenneth Copping in the 81 Mustang. That's given me a bit of Tron Legacy vibes, like you said, Mac, but it's also given me a hint of supercars with Cam Waters, who runs in a similar sort of like Monster Energy style livery, but it's a bit more stealth black. But warm-up has been completed as we are set to go green for 60 minutes here at V.I.R. Just literally half a mile away from the Virginia the Virginia border, and more to the point, from the North Carolina border on the banks of the Dan River. Let's take you through the starting grid for this particular race. It's going to be Jed Codderman starting on the pole position. Alongside him will be Aaron Sanford for AMS Engineering. Chet Miller and Joel Baptista will line up on row 2. Dennis Crosby and Broden Jones will round out your third row. Row 4, Jamie MacArthur and Jeff Sanders. Then we've got Faraz Ibrahim and Kobe Brooks rounding out your overall top 10 after qualifying. Oliver Brooks and Stephen Flurry will start on row 6. Jesse Chase, being the last of the drivers in qualifying that actually managed to put a lap time down, starts on the inside of row 7. He's going to be joined by Brennan McCurdy, then Jeffrey Strong, Kenneth Köpping, Doug Betts, Marcus Monson will round out your top 18. Brandon Banks due to start 19th. Michael Anderson did jump onto the practice server, but is actually north of the 1500 iRacing cap. So he has already said to us that he won't be joining us on the grid. And of course, Shahan Karim was due to take part, but he is going to vacate this round. And hopefully, Shahan, will see you back at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca next time around. And more to the point, the lights are on the gantry as it is Porsche versus Lamborghini as the iRacing pace truck. Always nice to see that one from time to time here or there. Of course, one of the newest iRacing safety cars that has just been provided is the new BMW M2 CS Cup car. We've had the Porsche pace car in the years past, but I think it's going to be a case of when Jed Codderman sees that pace truck into pit road here, Mac, he's going to be like the wolf leading the wolf pack as they all hammer down going into turn 1.
Yeah, you know, I always love to say it, and, you know, coming from your culture a little bit, you got a winger trying to stay on side. The defender drops back, you release them. You release them down that line, making the run. That's the way I like to put it here in the racing world as well. You're just releasing them. They cannot wait to get on that loud pedal, and we've actually got a little bit of a spin.
Sanford. Aaron Sanford has just lit up the rear tyres on that Raging Bull from Sant'Agata Bolognese and has turned it around, and that's not what he wanted to do. So that's going to put the AMS engineering car, I think, at the back end of the field. That's not what he wanted, because we are getting very, very close to the end of this full formation lap of this 3.27 mile circuit. 17 turns and all, runs clockwise, so 7 to the left, 10 to the right, and they're coming through the roller coaster section right now. So will this give the opportunity? I think Aaron Sanford might be able to go up the order. Yes, they're coming through. It's actually through the S's where he lost it, so my apologies there with regards to track location, but Aaron Sanford should hopefully be able to get a wave around, and as we would say over here in the United Kingdom, Mac, once bitten, twice shy for Mr. Sanford in the 958 Lamborghini. You won't want to do that again.
Yeah, very, very lucky for him that it came on the formation lap and he was able to get his spot back. If that would have happened lap number 1, he would have a very, very tough time climbing that grid order, especially somewhere here at V.I.R. So, yeah, good for him. And let's hope he can, you know, get that out of his head, because a lot of drivers, that will happen to them, and that will just check out your mental for the entire race. So hopefully he's able to, you know, get in a better headspace, wipe that out. It was a fluke, nothing. Let's get on with the race.
Yeah, also developments, Kobe Brooks and Oliver Brooks, we're due to start 18th and 11th and 12th, are going to be starting from pit road, I'm afraid. So it looks like they didn't make it onto the grid in time. So that has bumped up the order. The likes of Jeffrey Strong, Stephen McFlurry, as the pace truck now hits pit road, as we are getting ready for week 4 of the Breaking Bad Push and Limits GT3 League here at V.I.R. They're going to be at a very much equal speed. But then when we get the signal from Barney, the flag marshal, on the start-finish stretch here at V.I.R, we will be green, as the lights do go green, and now it's hammer down. And a good start by Jed Cotterman. Aaron Sanford in that naturally aspirated 5.2-litre V10 Lamborghini Huracan tries to go towards the outside, but Joao Baptista, the man from Brazil in the 03 Mustang, dives the inside line, gets the move done very, very quickly. Aaron Sanford knows this is not going to be a traditional 60-minute sprint race. You've got to factor in that strategic nous. But there has been a good start by Cotterman. Meantime, Chet Miller has just been passed by Dennis Crosby. So Crosby up 1 spot in the number 22, a very brightly coloured Ford Mustang. And Chet Miller finds himself down in P5. Jesse Chase has just served a slowdown penalty for exceeding track limits, as Jamie MacArthur closes in on Chet Miller, as they're going to head into the S's section now, and is right on the back of that Z06 Corvette, as they will head towards Oak Tree through the S's. But that Corvette looks very, very well handled at the moment.
Yeah, very, very well done by all of these drivers, getting out and away pretty cleanly. And something you don't really see here in the Breaking Bad Push and Limit series, we have stretched out on the opening lap. Typically, you see it from these guys. They are bumping and banging, and they are very, very aggressive through the first, 2, 3, 4 laps of this race. But as you can see, Alex, everything just kind of like an accordion has stretched out.
Yeah, biggest gap at the moment in the top 5 is between Dennis Crosby in P4 and then our 3rd place car, the Lamborghini of Aaron Sanford. The gap is a 2.5 seconds in climbing, as they're now going to make their way to complete the opening lap here at V.I.R. So Cotterman leads, Baptista in 2nd. Sanford rounds out your overall top 3. And it's 2 Mustangs in the top 4, courtesy of Dennis Crosby, who's got Chet Miller within half a second of him. As Broughton Jones, the number 33 BMW, he was looking to show his nose to the inside of Stephen Flurry, who's already made up 3 spots, who started on the 12th spot on the grid, now runs a genuine P9, running in that very, very bright red. Kind of reminds me of the Rizzi Competizione livery that Ferrari ran in IMSA for quite a few years. But Broughton Jones needs to try and move up the order. He's lost 4 spots already, so he's suffered a couple of dramas when drivers were getting their elbows out on the first lap of this race, as they now once again will head down in towards the S's, and they'll go up the incline. And this time it's Brendan McCurdy in the 444 Mustang, who's right on the rear diffuser of Broughton Jones. But the 33 BMW, as we head in towards Oak Tree now at turns 11 and 12, has got to be very, very mindful. But then you've got Jeffrey Strong, Kenneth Copping in the number 81, who's already up 3 spots. Doug Betts up 3 spots. Yeah. And, well, Kobe Brooks and Oliver Brooks find themselves a lap down off of everybody else, so they've not really had a good start. They were in pit lane, so I think they might have been caught short. So maybe these two might be able to make some headway when we get into the pit stop phase. But with the 65% fuel limitation in all the fuel tanks for these cars, it's about managing the tyres, managing the limitation of fuel, obviously keeping an eye on how many litres per lap that your car is consuming, because if you can lift and coast a little bit, it can help you in the latter stages.
Yeah, it can help you indeed. You're right about that. And what you said earlier about Stephen Fleury being up 3 spots, you went through and you listed Brendan McCarty, Jeffrey Strong, Kenneth Copping. They're all 3 spots up. It's a double-sided coin because, like you said here, Broughton Jones in this 33 BMW, as he loses another position almost on cue with what I'm about to say, he is down 5 spots. Jesse Chase down 4 spots. Kobe and Oliver Brooks down 8 spots as well. So when these guys go up, unfortunately, it means someone goes down, and the very good start of Stephen Fleury is balanced by a pretty bad start from someone who comes in as one of the championship leaders, Broughton Jones.
Yeah, and now we do know that the BMW M4 GT3 Evo is a pretty good all-rounder, as we see Jeffrey Strong rocking the Thierry Vermeulen DTM style livery in the Verstappen.com racing side of things. And, well, Doug Betts has just got through on Kenneth Copping, who's off the track. So Kenneth has dropped like a proverbial stone in the pond, and he's dropped all the way down into 17th. So the 81 Mustang has struck drama, maybe over rotation or losing a little bit of control. We'll see if we can get a replay up for you guys and girls watching along here tonight. But it is the case that Brendan McCurdy is closing in. Here's the replay. So, and this is in the livery you were talking about earlier on, Mac, that he's going to come out. That was a big old snap on the tail, and the car decided, right, that's it, you're going for a little bit of a roller coaster before it even got on there.
Yeah, so something really troubling about V.I.R, in my opinion, is that you're on the limit so much. You're hitting these top speeds, but then you have those heavy braking zones, and what really goes bad with those heavy braking zones are the light braking zones, like right there over that crest where Kenneth happened to go off. It's really easy to get a heavy foot on those light braking corners, and you know, something like that can easily spin you or send you off like that, and unfortunately it did indeed happen to Kenneth Copping.
So he's going to start to have to make a bit of a comeback trail as we are just past the 6 minutes out of 60 elapsed, 1/10 of the race completed. Meantime, we've got a inter-Porsche battle, but someone has gone off, and that's Doug Betts in the number 3, as Marcus Monson and Brandon Banks in the 98 and the 497 we're having a bit of a battle. Doug Betts loses the back end, and that was coming out of turn 2. So Doug, in his own infinite wisdom, has just dropped the ball. And so now we're seeing the likes of Kobe and Oliver Brooks and the 2 Mustangs start to make their way a little bit up the field as the Turn 3 Esports number 3 car is being closed on in by the 333. And there's Kobe Brooks. It looks like he's got a bit of a patchwork quilt livery on that car, because the left side is completely body in white, the bumper's black. And so is the majority of the but that's an interesting livery that he decides, yeah, let's put the colour on the right hand side where everyone can see it, and when I turn right, no one can see a damn thing. They can just see body in white.
Yeah, funny I mean, it's definitely a choice by Kobe Brooks, man, but hey, it's art to me. And something I want to drop on you here real quick, Alex, Joao Baptista had the fastest lap of the 1:45.91, but as that came out of my mouth, Jed Cotterman, the leader here, actually bested it by about 0.05.
Yeah, so that Porsche being worked very well in the hands of Jed Cotterman in the number 7 car. And for those people that know my love of the mark, I am the actual IRL Porsche Sports Cup Switzerland commentator and presenter. So to see a Porsche leading is putting a nice little smile on my face, even though I have to be neutral here in the commentary booth. But you can just see that looking by the driving language of the cars, the way that they're reacting on suspension rebound and obviously curbing, you can see that Joao Baptiste is he's more of a chuck it into the corner and hope it sticks kind of guy, whereas Jed Cotterman is like thinking, okay, I've got to make sure that this car is as equally balanced as possible on both top speed and on handling. I want to make sure that the car, you know, if he wants a pointy front end to help the car rotate around the corners, that works for him. And some drivers do like it where the rear end of the car is a little bit loose. They're able to throw the car in and carry a little bit more speed into the corners, but that can also be a sort of like a poison chalice, if you will, that if you throw it into a corner too hard and you get on the loud pedal a bit too quickly, then it's going to be round she goes.
Yeah, and that's something, you know, once again, I'm going to say it, and I'll probably say it 3 more times before the night's over, Alex. I love V.I.R. for that reason. You have everything. You have high speed. You have medium speed. You've got low speed. You've got heavy braking. You've got light braking. So it's just everything that encapsulates getting better, you know, with the car, being better on the balancing, on the suspension, on the rebound. You come to V.I.R., you know, over there in Europe, everybody's going to say the Nordschleife. You drive the Nordschleife, you can drive anything. Here in America, I think V.I.R. is the track that if you can drive it, you can drive anything.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you to a specific point. I mean, one of the rounds that we got on our calendar later on week 7 out of 8, which will be Long Beach, and that will be the street course that was used for quite a time up until 2022. And those barriers, you know, if you can drive at Long Beach, if you can drive at V.I.R., you can drive anywhere at any course in the US or even further afield. But like you said, yeah, the Nordschleife is that, you know, you can have thousands of laps around the Nordschleife, but you are constantly learning. It's the same with V.I.R. There's always that little bit more that you might want to extract out of the pace of the car. But as we see, Joao Baptista, he's just gone through the speed trap at 160.2 miles an hour, 1.3 quicker than Jed Cotterman. So Cotterman able in the twisty stuff to carry that little bit more rotational speed through the lower center of gravity. Of course, the Ford Mustang isn't the most aerodynamic car in the world. It's as aerodynamic as a concrete brick at the best of times. But look at the run coming out of the final corner. Here comes Baptista. He switches to the outside of Cotterman as they go down the start-finish stretch. But at this time, Jed Cotterman was able to put the blockers on. Baptista to the outside into the horseshoe. And that is not going to be long enough for him to try and get round. But the only thing that he can do is put the pressure on Cotterman to make a mistake. And for Jed Cotterman in the opening 2 rounds at Road Atlanta and Road America, that was something that did not happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jed Cotterman is a stone-cold killer out there on the circuit, man. It's going to be a blast to watch him and Joao go at it here because Jed Cotterman is a driver. He is very clean. He is a very good driver. He does only have 1,200 I rating, but man, he knows how to defend. You can tell he is a ball knower, as the kids say these days, because he just knows where to put his car to defend the position. And that's something that I think a lot of these new drivers on the iRacing service who are wanting to get up into league racing, they can race clean, but a lot of the times they can't really defend all too well. They either give up too early or they give up way too late and end up sending both of them off the track. But Jed Cotterman, I mean, you see him now, Joao going around his left side, but he is a very defensive driver, and he's very good at defending his position.
Well, as they come down this long straightaway, Baptista's going to have the inside line for the next corner. He dives to the inside and manages to cut Cotterman's nose off to spite his face and now gets through. So the Brazilian finally on what is now lap number 7 of this race. We are just inching closer and closer to the quarter time mark being elapsed of 15 minutes. So Joao Baptista, the man from Brazil, gets through on Jed Cotterman and now is starting to use that straight line speed advantage. But as we will see over the course of this race, now I did say at the top of the show, unlimited tyres. So if they come in for that pit stop, if I was Jed Cotterman, I know exactly what I'd do. I'd stick the maximum amount of fuel in, put a new set of tyres on, and just go hell for leather. And that's the thing with the Mustang being, you know, the beast that it is. The engine that was actually built for that car was developed in conjunction with not just Ford Performance in Dearborn, Michigan, but also in the Ford WRC outfit at Cockermouth in the United Kingdom, and that is actually a name of a place. It's by the M Sport Rally team. They bought out the engine to 5.4 litres from 5 litres to give the Coyote V8 engine a bit more shoved down in the lower rev range. And still, even though Joao Baptista got an early pair of legs running behind him in that Mustang, Jed Cotterman, again, is now going to have the better view, the seat in the house here, so to speak, because now he's got the advantage of the slipstream. And through the speed trap, well, Joao Baptista was only about 1 mile an hour quicker. Looking down the list at the minute, highest top speed through the speed trap, Oliver Brooks in the number 31 Mustang, 161.9 miles an hour. Broughton Jones has, now Broughton Jones has been in the pits, but more to the point, it might have been that he struck drama 6.5 minutes on his marks in the pit lane. So that has been drama for him. So whether he's had contact with another vehicle in the meantime, that has meant that Broughton Jones, here we go with the Racer Nexus replay, and this is going to be with, I think that's Stephen Flurry. Oh, and he tags him from behind, and that car's a passenger, and it's going to go, is it going to go into the wall or the trees, mask it? But I think he did stop rather quickly. Yeah, so that's big front-end damage to the BMW M4. So, and Kyle Smith in YouTube, don't worry, we will try and see if we can get an updated league link for the Discord. Because he said, I wouldn't mind running in this league. No, that's not a problem at all. We can hopefully make that for you at some point. But still, Jed Cotterman keeping Joao Baptista very, very honest. Marcus Monson, in the meantime, has lost out to Kobe Brooks, who now is 2 positions away from where he qualified in P10. So Kobe Brooks in the 333 Mustang having a good run of form at the moment.
Yeah, very, very good form. And I just dropped the Discord in the YouTube chat. So there you go. That will be your ticket in to this weekend showdown here. They run every Saturday night. Sessions open at 9:20 p.m. CST. 40-minute practice into a 15-minute qualifying. So 1,500 iRating cap, like Alex said earlier. So if you do fit in that, head on over to the Discord. I'm sure the links and stuff will be getting updated here as the days go on. So hopefully by next week, the default stuff in the description of the live stream is updated. But yeah, good looks. And obviously, it's a fun league. Wouldn't you agree, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. We've had some very, very close racing at the moment. And behind the lead battle, looking a little bit further back, we've got the battle between Jeff Sanders in the Mercedes. He's got, well, there is Jeff Sanders in the number 30 McLaren. He's about 0.8 of a second behind Faraz Ibrahim in the number 99 Mercedes. And then there is Brendan McCurdy in the 444. Now, Brendan's made up 6 spots so far. Brandon Banks is the biggest mover so far in the number 497 car, so he is up big time. He's up 8 spots, having started down in 19th. So Brandon using the handling of that Porsche 992 generation 911 GT3R, doing a very, very good job. In the meantime, Kenneth Cupping has got past on Doug Betts. So big thanks to Double A. There we go. So Discord link has been updated for you, especially if your name is Kyle Smith. Please feel free to click on the link and get yourself involved ahead of our first race of 2026, which will be WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in Salinas, California, January 3rd. And that will be the first time that the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 League will be roaring into life in 2026. And again, Kenneth Cupping trying to close on in those in front. There's Oliver Brooks. Doug Betts has got to serve a slowdown penalty. As all, well, there goes a bit of rally crossing by I think that was Marcus Monson, I'm afraid. So Marcus has ended up behind Doug Betts, and all that hard work as he's running the, looks like a Ken Block tribute livery there with the monster-style logos on the side of it. So, yeah, a bit of a shame there. And as you said, it's those corners where you've got to be very, very careful. And Marcus just found out he was on the wrong end of the stick going into the S's.
Yeah, wrong end of the stick going down the S's indeed. And somebody else who was on the wrong end of a stick, Jed Cotterman, one of your leaders, he went off track as well earlier.
Okay, so this is coming out of Oak Tree. Oh, no, that's not what you want to do there. Manages to gather it back up together as the back end stepped out to the left-hand side. Aaron Sanford is keeping within about 4 seconds of the two in front at the moment. So Aaron, who had that unfortunate spin heading into the S's on the formation lap, still keeping a hold of that third spot, qualified on the outside of the front row behind Jed Cotterman, but it is Joao Baptista who started on the outside of row number 2, and the 03 Mustang, piloted by the Brazilian, doing a great job. But still, Jed Cotterman, despite that slight moment we saw just a few seconds ago when he went wide coming out of Oak Tree, he is still back within lunge range of Joao Baptista. But with these track temperatures, well, Cotterman nearly ended up hitting him in the rear diffuser there, Max. So he was very, very lucky that he didn't cause Baptista to have a turnaround.
Yeah, and, you know, that's something you don't typically see as Joao Baptista into the pits. Jed Cotterman is going to opt to stay out for at least one more lap. But, yeah, Jed Cotterman, something that, you know, you don't really see from him very often. He is, you know, very technical. He's very clinical, very surgical when it comes to his racing. So the mistakes we've seen here by him just, you know, goes to show how tight and how technical V.I.R. really is.
Yeah. And that was coming through the roller coaster. So Joao Baptista is already putting fuel in the car. He has got the fastest lap of the race, 1:45.485. And going to see how long he's going to be staying on his marks for. So I think the thing is that with the track temperature, Mac, being at 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 45 degrees Celsius. These tyres are going to be screaming blue mercy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really hard to manage tires when it's temperatures like this. There's almost no management. You've just kind of gotta go, and when they go out, that's when you pit. So, I mean, that's, I guess, exactly what Joao Baptista opted to do there.
Yeah, so Joao Baptista has been in there for nearly a minute, so I think the thing is that he's got to be out of there very quickly. Okay, so 63 seconds, not including transit time. So you're probably spending, if you're going to change tyres, put in the full 65% worth of fuel in the gas tank, you're going to be there for probably, including transit time, you may be looking at about a minute 30, minute 40 total transfer time from pit entry to pit exit. And so Joao Baptista rejoins and is down in 18th now. Broughton Jones has called time on the race, and after 4 laps, the number 33 BMW M4 GT3 Evo is the first unfortunate casualty, as we are 8.5 minutes to go until we hit half-time here at week 4 of the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 League, live and uninterrupted here on the Racer Nexus YouTube channel. But we're going to see a little bit of an attacking opportunity by Brendan McCurdy, who's looking to the inside of Jeff Sanders, and the Mustang versus the twin-turbo 4-litre V8 McLaren. And McCurdy to the inside, late on the brakes, dives through, and at the horseshoe, makes it stick on the apex. Nicely done.
Yeah, very good move there from the Canadian Brendan McCarty, and we've got a lineup, a 3-car lineup here of Canadian drivers. Jamie MacArthur in that number 75. He is going to be in P4. Faraz Ibrahim in P5, and the guy we just covered who stuck it down in turn 1, Brendan McCarty. So very good job to those 3 drivers, and who knows, we might see an all-Canadian podium if things can keep going right.
Yeah, it just depends how the pit stops go for Messrs. Cotterman, Sanford and Miller, as Miller now finds himself in the 3rd spot in the sole Corvette Z06 GT3R that we've got on the grid here. As there is the man himself in that wonderfully liveried orange and, well, a little bit of high vis as well, a bit of purple, bit of cyan, and plenty of good old black on the side and the rear bumper of that Corvette as it makes its way through the roller coaster section. It is still going to be the case of when does Jed Connerman decide to pit. He is going round again, so it seems like the Porsche having the opportunity, but he is losing a big old chunk of that lead. Oh well, Aaron Sanford for the first time this race here has just gone on a 1:45.856. That gap between Jed Connerman and Aaron Sanford was at 1.3.7 seconds. It's now down by 1.3.
Yeah, Aaron Sanford, I mean, I guess he took my advice and he erased that formation lap turmoil from his memory, omitted it, and he is pedal to the metal here. He is locked in, and I cannot wait to see what he does in this latter half of the race. But him and Jed Connerman might be opting to go on a late window pit stop. And, you know, here at V.I.R, I'm not entirely sure, is the overcut better or the undercut?
And it depends on how things stand. Faraz Ibrahim in the 99 Mercedes has come into pit lane, so looking at the gap between Jed Connerman and Joao Baptista is about 1:25. So I think it just depends on how much fuel that has been put in the tank. Now, Baptista, with that Mustang, I mean, it's a heavier car than the Porsche, let's not forget. So if you've got more fuel in it in the early stages, you want to have a car that's going to be, you know, you want to have that opportunity. Now, the thing is that if Baptista, and I have to say, Double Apex Gaming, thank you very much for putting that in there. Baptista appeared to cross the pit lane entry, the pit entry lane. So if he's crossed the white line in or out, that is an automatic penalty, and that becomes a black flag. So it should have been maybe a shorter stop, maybe around about the 36-second mark. So maybe that if he's known that he's done that, he's going to take the penalty and go, right, okay, if I can put a fresh set of boots on here, fill the tank up on the car itself, I might have an opportunity. But it depends on how these pit stops by Kosserman, Sanford, Miller, MacArthur, McCurdy, it just depends on if one of them causes a problem. Because if you are caught speeding coming out of pit lane, or you cross that pit lane exit line, that is an automatic black flag, and that is a penalty straight away. So from a race that could have been going very, very well, you could find yourself in harm's way.
Yeah, and hopefully that is not the case. We don't like to see, you know, especially me up here in the broadcast booth, I don't like to see races decided on a penalty. You know what I mean? I like it to be on the track, pure racing, clean, you know, on the law, on the limit, all that stuff. So if that does end up costing Joao Baptista, that is going to be an absolute heartbreak for the Brazilian, and I'm sure for everybody watching, as Kenneth Coping and Oliver Brooks here in a little bit of a decent battle.
Yeah, and they've got Kobe just in front, so 3 Mustangs round out 9th, 10th and 11th. The highest of the Mustangs so far, Brendan McCurdy in the 444, rounding out your 5th spot on the field so far. 33.5 minutes left to go here at V.I.R for week 4 of the series. And Kenneth Coping, after a disastrous first quarter of an hour, has managed to get that Coyote V8 firing on all cylinders, as they're now going to come through out of Oak Tree. And Kenneth Coping nearly makes a bit of a pig's ear of the exit out of turn number 12, but it's 3 5.4 litre naturally aspirated Coyote V8s powering their way down towards the roller coaster section here at V.I.R. The battle between them, it's less than a second between the 3 cars from the blue oval, and Kenneth Coping looking a little bit more aggressive on the braking going into that turn 14 at the start of the roller coaster before they go through into Hogpen. Meantime, Jed Connerman has just got a slowdown penalty for exceeding track limits. Now, just seeing that Jeffrey Strong in the number 17 Ferrari has just entered pit lane, so he could be the real indicator as to, and now he's got that car in the air, so he's taking tyres.
Yeah, 17 camp of Jeffrey Strong gonna take tires, and like you were about to say, we'll see what the actual average time is for someone who didn't have to deal with penalties. Because I think you're right, and I think Double Apex, I believe, is who put it in the YouTube chat. I believe he caught something that maybe we didn't. Because I do actually think that he probably, yes, as we see, 27.42 second pit time for Jeffrey Strong. Yeah, Joel Baptista definitely had to serve some sort of penalty.
I think it might have doubled up as well, because if you cross the pit lane entry line and you speed coming into pit lane, well, that straight away, that's about a minute's worth of penalties that are thrown at you. So I think that Joao Baptista got a double whammy, and that is why he is where he is at the moment. Because if he hadn't have had those penalties, I'm sure that he probably would have been top 5. Oliver Brooks at the moment now has a slowdown penalty. Meantime, Jed Codderman, who has served his slowdown penalty, has got Aaron Sanford about 1.1 seconds behind. So the Lamborghini starting to reel in the Porsche here at the sharp end of the field, as we have just over 31 minutes. Jamie MacArthur in the 75 Mercedes now hits pit lane, so that is going to promote Brendan McCurdy. Let's see if the air jacks go on this Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3 Evo. Well, at the moment they have none quite yet, but he might decide to opt for tyres, or unless he feels that the Mercedes has enough rubber underneath it to keep going. So 20 seconds in his pit box stall, and looks like he might just take fuel. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, there we go, 25.78 seconds, and he lights up the rear tyres coming out of pit road. And Jamie MacArthur, the man from Canada, in the 75 Mercedes. Of course, for those that do look at your fabled Bibles for sports car racing, that Verstappen.com Racing have now entered into a long-term agreement with Mercedes for GT racing for the forthcoming GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS, and that will also include a man who raced for Team Redline for many a year as a sim racer, Chris Lullum, who made his GT3 debut in GT World Challenge Europe last year, won with Harry King and Thierry Vermeulen the Gold Cup class at the Crown Strike 24 Hours of Spa last year. As we now see Codderman and Sanford, they're covering each other off. Chet Miller now takes the lead in the Corvette.
Yeah, and fantastic lore that you dropped on us here. I'm kind of speechless. I wasn't aware of, all of that information. I was aware that Chris Lullum, the Redline racing teammate of Max Verstappen, I did realize that he got himself a job. I didn't realize it was that lucrative. I thought maybe it was just, some local stuff, maybe some, MX-5s at Brands Hatch or something. I'm sure that's going to be a heck of a sight watching Chris Lullum. I mean, he is an absolute beast on the sim, and I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be a beast in the real world as well.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is that, because of his association with Max, if anyone might remember the Franz Hermann incident at the Nürburgring Nordschleife when he drove in that Ferrari 296, it's the thing is that Max is such an adaptable driver, and I think there's a lot of people we're going to see a change here, because Codderman gets through on Sanford, who makes a little bit of a mistake coming out of turn number 2. The thing is that having followed Max's career from karting when he won at Paul Fletcher International in KZ2, the FIA Karting World Championships back in 12 years ago, 2013. I always knew that there was something special about that young man, and then he went and raced in the FIA Formula 3 European Series alongside Esteban Ocon, who in 2014 won the title, and that was the year when Max picked up his Red Bull sponsorship whilst running with Fanama Sport Racing. I always thought there's something special about this young man. There's something different, and it wasn't about the fact he was in single seaters gunning for Formula 1, but I think it's just his adaptability. Like, a lot of the time when he's at home, he's on the sim. Like, there's been times when it's been chronicled where he helped out Team Redline in a 24-hour enduro race, and he's in his motorhome at 3 in the morning on the sim, and he still gets out there into the Formula 1 car and still performs at the highest level. So I think it's it's like they say, there are generational talents, and Max, I think, has broken the norm when it comes to bringing sim racing and real life racing together. I mean, another couple of members of Team Redline are Danny Huncadea, who's going to partner Chris Lullum in GT World Challenge this year, Lando Norris, Gabriel Bortoletto, and those are two names in Formula One that he races against and who are good friends. So it's a case of, you know, sim racing is proving its worth in many a way, and especially when you've got a man who's won 4 Formula One world titles on the bounce, and for him to go, right, Chris, I trust you, let's get you behind the wheel, let's get you trained up, you know what you need to do on the sim, we just need to put it in a real life application, and he goes and does it.
Yeah, it's amazing, and you know, there's nothing more I will stand behind than sim racing producing real-life racing talents. And I mean, Max Verstappen, like you said, Lando Norris, Gabriel Bortoletto, all F1 drivers who believe in the process that is sim racing, you know, the development of it. Over here in America, on the oval side of things, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has always been such a big advocate for sim racing, has been since 2004. The NASCAR, you know, the committees, the staff members, the higher-ups, they laughed at him. They just laughed at him because they thought, you know, there's no way kids can hop on this sim and get, you know, reputable, credible seat time that equates to skills that you can bring into the real world. And, you know, the likes of William Byron have proved that wrong. Kyle Larson, your most recent NASCAR champion, has done that. There's a lot of guys in the dirt scene that do it. Rico Abreu, sprint car driver. Christopher Bell, who's also in NASCAR, loves taking to the simulator for dirt and oval stuff. So, I mean, it's time to stop living under a rock, people. If you're not aware of sim racing, you need to get aware. You need to get with the program, because this is a real simulator. You can take skills from this and hone a real-life racing craft.
When you have to look at another person, like, say, GT Academy, that was done through Gran Turismo, and it was piloted by Darren Cox, who's an absolute visionary, and the first person who won was the first ever US winner of GT Academy back in 2011. And now this is the name I'm bringing back from the past, Brian Heitkotter, who was a delivery driver from Fresno, and he went on to win the inaugural US GT Academy, got laid off from his delivery job, and then ended up being a professional racing driver with Nissan, of all companies. And he's raced in Grand Am, he's raced in the Pirelli World Challenge. You know, it just goes to show that, I mean, I'm an advocate of both sim racing and karting. I've been a karting commentator for well over a decade, and I've seen so many talents not being given the opportunity due to the amount of money that their parents are siphoning into karting. Whereas you can pick up a bundle from, like, say, Moser, Fanatec, PXN, all these different manufacturers, Thrustmaster. You can get yourself a sim, a decent PC, you know, for a couple of $1,000, and get your content and go out there and start racing. Because if someone like Chris Lullum can make the challenge, make that, you know, you look at previous GT Academy winners like Brian, like Jan Mardenborough, who had an extensive career in Japan, you know, from being, you know, his dad being an ex-soccer player for Colchester United, which is literally like round the way from where I'm from, here in the east of England. Jan Mardenborough went on to race in Japan Formula 3, raced as a Nissan Works driver in Super GT GT500, the top tier of touring car racing over in the Orient. Lucas Ordonez raced with Nismo through LMP2 and other categories as well. So sim racing is, don't knock it until you're giving it a shot. And I don't always get behind the wheel of a sim because I don't have room here at the house. I live with some other members of my family, so I've got probably enough room to swing a black cat around my head, but that's about it. But when I do get behind the wheel of the sim, I understand and I appreciate all the amount of effort. You know, people might say, well, sim racing's just a game, you're going around in circles. There's so much more. It's like the realism of, like, say, iRacing, you know, Assetto Corsa Evo, Assetto Corsa Competizione, the platforms we now have. I mean, Project Motor Racing through Straight 4 Studios, Okay, that hasn't had the best reception on release, but it's a work in progress. Every game is a work in progress. Like the amount of time that iRacing spend bringing new developments to the service, and especially as we just had Season 1 2026 drop, you know, with the new 902.2 Porsche Carrera Cup car, which I'm really excited about because of the facts of the affiliation, that the working association I have with that manufacturer. You see that there are so many developments. When there's a tire model, everyone always moans and cries and goes, oh, I can't get it to work. And then 3 weeks later, they're winning races. Now we're seeing Jeff Sanders has pitted in from the number 30. And I think you're right. Jed Cotterman, Aaron Sanford and Chet Miller have gone very, very long. I mean, we're nearly into the final third of this race here, Mac, as we've been talking about, you know, Max Verstappen, Chris Lullum, Jan Mardenborough and a few other people that have made their name through the world of sim racing. That this race has really, really flown by here at the V.I.R.
Yeah, I agree, and it always does here in the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 Saturday series. These guys make it, you know, it's just eye candy at this point. I don't know what else to call it. It's eye candy watching these guys go around. I mean, they've got the low I rating. That's the fun part of it. These guys aren't pros. These guys might not even be aspiring to become a professional, whether that be in the sim racing scene or in the real life racing scene. But what they're doing is they've got passion, they've got a love for racing, they're getting on the rig, and they are putting forth their best effort. And to be honest with you, I see a lot of potential in these guys because you look at them and some of these guys' racecraft, it rivals 5K, 6K, 7K drivers. Not to make a 6-7 joke, as I have in almost every single one of my broadcasts. You know I had to say it one time for the new gen.
I'm glad I understand what it means now as well. Which, like, someone said, "Do you know what this means?" And I said, "No, I'll have to look it up." You know.
Yeah.
But it's. I think it's a case of that people's talents. You know, iRacing. Their iRating number is just a number. What, you know, like say people will have full-time jobs, and you know the wife will just say, "Look, if you need to go and blast some steam, spend an hour on the rig." You know, they'll let them do it because in some ways it takes you out of the real world and puts you in a world where you feel comfortable, where you feel at home. And that's what these drivers are doing right now here on a late Saturday night.
Yeah, it's therapy, and I mean, it genuinely is. You've got the sound design on iRacing. Jed Cotterman takes a little bit too much of that curb. It's going to slow him down a little bit heading through the S's. But you've got the amazing audio system here of iRacing. You've got the graphics, which, you know, we are on a game, we are on an engine from the late 90s, maybe early 2000s here on iRacing, the NR 2003 engine, which who knows what it was before that. So the graphics department needs a little bit of a tune-up, but hey, you get on here, it's therapy, man. It's the sound, it's the roar, it's the heart, it's the fight in all of these drivers. And like you said, you know, it's an escape from the cold, dark world outside. And I mean, it's getting ever so colder and ever so darker as the days go on. So, you know, being able to hop up, bundle up, get in the rig and lay some laps down, I mean, it's surreal almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's just an escapism. But for them, it's just that release that they need and just go, actually, I really enjoyed it. I might be sweating buckets, I might be breathing heavy, but I know that I've put in a really, really good effort. Now, in the meantime, Joao Baptista has been slowly, like a little stealthy ninja assassin, making his way up the order. He's now up into a genuine P8, and he's right behind the number 22 Mustang of Dennis Crosby, as they've made their way down the back stretch here at V.I.R. So it could be the opportunity that Baptista needs, and the way things are going, it is the case while everyone has taken their pit stops. So the biggest thing that I've noticed here, Mac, is that the gap between Jed Cotterman and Joao Baptista is about 40 seconds. So that is how much time he lost in the pits as a result of that penalty. So if he crossed the pit lane entry line, he would have gotten a black flag, and that would have communicated probably a 35-second stop and hold in the pit lane before the car could be worked on. So he might have decided then, well, let's reduce, let's reduce the insult to injury and just put a new set of tires on there whilst I'm in. So he might have come in there with thinking maybe with the Mustang, because it is, as I said, a heavy car in comparison with the Porsche. There's, and as I say that, Joao Baptista has just gone off the circuit and gone backwards into the barriers. That is not how you wanted your progression to go. And in 17 minutes, he loses a position to the number 99. So this is going to be with... And is going to be with, he's carried too much speed through 3. Oh no, bang, straight in.
Yeah, a big bang. It's not going to look too bad here from our view, but the damage to that rear end is probably going to be very, very noticeable for that Brazilian Mustang driver, Joao Baptista, as Faraz Ibrahim gets his spot back. Joao passed him a lap earlier, but now because of that incident, Faraz Ibrahim is back into the top 8.
Yeah, so for us, another one of the Canadian contingent. We've got 3 Canadians in the top 8. So fourth with Jamie MacArthur, Brennan McCurdy in the number 444 Mustang, rounding out your top 6. Then Faraz Ibrahim rounding out the top 8 in the number 99 Mercedes-Benz. So everyone has served their mandatory pit stop as per the fuel limitation of 65% fuel that you can have in the tank at any one time here at the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 League Week 4 here at V.I.R. We are just over 15 minutes to go, and there, well, that is the current championship standings after week 3 at V.I.R. And the way things stand is that it looks like Jed Cotterman's going to retake the lead off of Jeff Sanders in the overall standings. You see Terry Vince, Jeffrey Strong, Faraz Ibrahim rounding out your top 5 in the overall classification, but a big gap between Sanders, Cotterman and the likes of Vincent Strong and Ibrahim and Sanford as Joao Baptista has come in. I think he's going to be effecting one of those fast repairs, I would say, as we still see in the background behind the current standings for a brief moment. That was Jamie MacArthur in the number 75 Mustang, up 3 spots. Brennan McCurdy, Doug Betts and Brandon Banks all have made up 8 spots in this race. So those are the biggest movers here tonight.
Yeah, Brandon Banks, someone who, like you said, moved up big time. He started P19, which, if I'm not mistaken, was dead last, bringing himself up into P11. One more spot. If he can overtake that number 17 of Jeffrey Strong in that Verstappen.com Ferrari, he will be inside of the top 10. So Brandon Banks has potential for a very good showing here tonight.
Just having a look at the lap times, well, Jeffrey Strong last time around was on a 1:48, not 1:49. Brandon Banks, 1.2 seconds quicker. So Brandon Banks has got to really get his motor running in that 497 Porsche, especially through the twisty stuff. But on the back stretch, the 4-litre flat 6 boxer engine rear mounted over the rear axle on that car is going to have a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of the speed trap, but still would stop Brandon Banks for doing nearly 160 miles an hour through the speed trap. Brennan McCurdy at the moment is the fastest driver, showing 161.6 miles an hour. And then after that, Faraz Ibrahim in the number 99 Mercedes did 161.5 miles an hour. Doug Betts is the quickest out there in the number 3 Porsche for Turn 3 Esports, 161.7 miles per hour. So these guys are absolutely giving it everything when they can put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, and it was something we expected. We said it towards the top of the broadcast. We got a lot of straights here, not a lot of wing to be taken if you want to be fast on those straights, and it looks like that is exactly what they are doing. 160s almost around the board for pretty much everyone. And, you know, going 160, whether it's real life or sim, it's going to be hard to get that car slowed down. So I'm very, very surprised that we haven't seen more chaos towards the end of those heavy braking zones.
I think really, with regards to, you know, we were seeing in qualifying about, you know, some drivers topping out at 163, but that's when you're on low fuel. Whereas if you've got like still half of that 65% fuel level in your car, you know, that is, for every litre, that's going to cost you a couple of tenths of a second a lap maybe. And having done north of 160 miles an hour legally on the German Autobahn, when I do get the opportunity to go to continental Europe for my travels, it is very, very difficult to slow down a car, whether it's on the sim or in real life, from 160 miles an hour. It is not easy. You've got to be very, very careful. But here at V.I.R, I think we'll obviously, with a lot of the undulations, you can actually use the engine braking on the car. Just lift off the throttle a little bit and let the car do the work. And then, you know, sometimes you don't always need to hit the brakes completely hard going into it. At least you know that if you've got that lift and coast opportunity, you can make it work to your advantage and have a little bit more control over the car, rather than sort of like going in there all guns blazing, foot flat to the floor, and then you see your brake marker, you hit the brakes, and all of a sudden you brake too hard and the car just does not want to respond. You've got to make sure that the car works with you rather than against you.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing, especially for new drivers coming up in the scene. And I'm sure a lot of guys driving here tonight might watch this back and, you know, take it with a grain of salt, because I'm not very good behind the wheel either. But a lot of drivers I see when they're coming up in the iRacing official service, they're very heavy on the wheel. They've got a death grip on that steering wheel. But a lot of times, if you don't upset the car will not upset you. So light hands, my sim racing coach, Suelia Almeida, actually taught me that. Very light hands on the car. Let the car do the work. All you got to do is guide it, and it will want to go there.
Yeah, Suelia Almeida, had the pleasure of meeting that man at the Sim Racing Expo a couple of years ago. Now running in World Challenge, isn't he, with Brian Herter Autosport in the Hyundai Elantra N. Quite recently, if memory serves me correctly. Great guy, really, really good guy. And I've actually got his first ever book that he published, that he signed for me at the expo and gave it to me. And I was like, I was willing to pay for the book. I was like, Swelly, you don't need to. No, I insist. And he's another Brazilian individual who's got a heart of gold, and he's someone in this industry that you know, everyone respects. And it's great to see people like him now make the move into IRL motorsport as well.
Yeah, something that I thought maybe came, you know, a little bit after when he deserved it, I should say. I hate using that word deserved. He earned it. I mean, the guy is an absolute beast in the sim. He's, you know, a beast in the short driving that he had in real life. So, I mean, him getting picked up to those, I believe it was Homestead, Miami, that he did all those, you know, single-seater races in when he first started. Mm-hmm. You know, you could just tell instantly. I mean, the first time he got out on track, he was, you know, insane. A couple spins here, maybe losing the rear end there, but yeah, for the most part, he was absolutely electric with it. And, you know, yeah, props to him. I mean, you've met him, you say he's got a heart of gold. I 100% believe it. Haven't met him, but I've had the pleasure of, you know, being on his motor racing checklist. And yeah, he's just an amazing guy, very knowledgeable about the sport and, you know, the industry as a whole. So, you know, shout out to Suelio Almeida.
Yeah, so we are into the final 9 minutes of this race, and Jed Cotterman still leads the way. Aaron Sanford still in second. Chet Miller in third, and is 13 seconds behind the 958 Lamborghini. There is the 007 Chevy Corvette Z06 GT3R. Of course, also that particular vehicle ran in the World Endurance Championship with TF Sport. Danny Hunkadea, one of the factory drivers as part of that program, which ran for a couple of years before that model of the GT3 side of things got taken away by Corvette Racing. But more to the point, it is still a very favoured car for mid-engined rear-wheel drive when it comes to GT3 machinery. It's a car that you know, we see a lot of drivers go to: Porsche, Lamborghini, Mercedes, Mustang. And we see other cars like the Corvette, like the Acura NSX GT3, which is another car that I think is also a bit of a dark horse. You know, if you've got a car like that on point, like we saw with Michael Anderson, who briefly joined us for free practice earlier on tonight, if you get that car dialed in really, really well on an open setup iRacing league, it can be a proven weapon in somebody's hand that knows how to drive it like you stole it.
Yeah, drive it like you stole it. That's exactly how Marcus Monson is driving his Porsche right now. He's been in a battle with Oliver Brooks for the past few laps, not able to get anything done, but with 7 minutes left, the heavy Mustang has to be at a disadvantage when we get into light fuel load because the engine won't be producing as much kick for him, but the Porsche here being very light, I would assume down these straights it's going to get a little hairy for the Mustang.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, well, Kobe and Oliver Brooks have just gone north of 166.5 miles an hour, just seen recorded by Kobe Brooks, 164.4 by Oliver Brooks. Marcus Monson, 161.3 in the Porsche. So as we just see that Chet Miller gets the yellow flag by his name on the timing tower. That's a track limit infringement, so a slowdown penalty needs to be served. So yeah, the way that the Mustang is set up in comparison to the Porsche, of course you've got to realize that, as I said, the Ford Mustang is not the most aerodynamic GT3 car ever made. It is built like a Sherman tank effectively. And with it being a front-engined, rear-wheel drive car, the center of gravity is going to be more front-end heavy, which means that as the fuel load lightens, the rear end on those cars will be feeling a little bit looser, whereas the Porsche is going to have a better center of gravity because the fuel tank's located in the front of the vehicle, and the engine is mounted directly over the rear axle. As here we go, Oliver up the inside of Kobe, and through he goes. And that is a change for 14th position. So the 31 makes the move on the 333. But I think it's when you want it to come down to handling towards the end of the race, as we're into the last 5 3/4 minutes. If it was me, I'll be completely honest with you, Mac, I'd rather be in that Porsche right now.
Yeah, and that's something I think a lot of people would agree with, you know, to pretty much everything you said. I think, you know, coming down here, low fuel, you're going to be really light on those wheels. That's something that I feel like favors the Porsche a little more than the Mustang. Like you said, it's not very aerodynamic. You're not getting a lot of agility in that chassis as you would, you know, the Porsche or, you know, even the Ferrari, because I feel like the Ferrari has come a little ways.
Ooh. That was straight off exit stage left at turn 11. Oh, now, and he's hit. Oh, he's gone to pit lane. Let's have a look at this. So it's through the S's. The back end is going to snap on him. So he's going to turn it right. Back end steps out. Bang. There we go. Car rotates. And Kobe is a passenger. There is that tyre wall, and that is going to go bang. Right rear takes the brunt of the impact. So that'll be that'll be rear axle. That'll be suspension upright and suspension components on the right rear. So Kobe Brooks is tumbling, I'm afraid, and that could be his race done and dusted with 4.5 minutes to go, unless he exercises of a fast repair. But if he's already exercised those, then that's it, game over.
Yeah, and really unfortunate for Kobe Brooks, someone who I don't think has made an appearance in the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 series yet. He's not a name that I am familiar with, but he was running so well, you know, so clean and consistent for those 54 minutes, and all it takes is one single bit of snap oversteer, and his night, like you said, may very well be over.
Yeah, so looks to be the case. And at the moment, we have just 3 3/4 minutes to go. And, well, there's Jed Cotterman, our race leader, who will now retake the series lead as we will hit the halfway point going into the new year on the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 League here at V.I.R for week 4 out of 8. But in the meantime, I have noticed that Aaron Sanford is matching Jed Cotterman here, Mac, for lap times. They both did a low 1 minute 46.0. And so Sanford is not going to have much time. I think when we next come across the stripe, it's going to be 1 and 1 more. We're on lap 32, so we could be running to 34 laps maybe at total as they head down the back straight away for what could, yeah, it's going to be 1 and 1 more after this, so we'll hit 34 laps total race distance. But the that 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 mid-mounted rear wheel drive Lamborghini in terms of power, has the advantage over the Porsche, but Jed Cotterman is just absolutely driving the car as he needs to. Like you said earlier, he knows where to position the car in terms of the racing line and get the best out of that Porsche.
Yeah, and I mean, Aaron Sanford in the Lamborghini, not a very popular choice nowadays among the iRacing official service members, but Aaron Sanford making it work in that Lamborghini, but he's going to have to push and find some tenths. Needs to maybe find about half a second on this lap if he wants to even have a chance here. But after the formation lap, you know, turmoil, he got back into it, he locked in, and I think it's been one heck of a performance from Mr. Sanford here in that 958 Lamborghini.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one, Mac. It's just the case if he dusted himself off, got himself back up and went, right, okay, just put that behind you. Just concentrate on your own race. And if you get in the top 3, great stuff. If you don't, okay, well, let's just see how far up the order I can be come the checkered flag. But as we head into the S's for what will be the penultimate time here on lap number 33 of week 4 out of 8 for the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 League live here on the Racer Nexus Network. Oh, bit of a wide moment there coming out of turn 12 by Jed Cotterman. Could this be the opportunity that Aaron Sanford has needed? And he's got a nose ahead. They could be rubbing paint going into, and they are rubbing paint going in towards the turn 14 roller coaster, but it could be that can Cotterman make it through on the inside line. He's going to go a little bit more braver on the accelerator pedal, and Jed Cotterman just got the biggest get out of jail free card I've ever seen on a passing opportunity like that. Well played.
Yeah, it's almost drew up exactly how we said it. Jed Cotterman with the light Porsche. We said it'd be very advantageous here as we take the white flag. He was very, very brave on that loud pedal. Didn't brake for, you know, probably 50, 60 feet closer to the apex of the corner than Aaron Sanford did. And that's what allowed him to establish himself into that position. And here in the Lamborghini, it's another one of those kind of blocky cars, so maybe not a lot of confidence put in the rolling of the chassis around those corners, and that might have been what gave Jed Cotterman the advantage to get that spot back.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that one, Mac. We're on to the 34th and final lap of the race here for week 4 out of 8 as they go up towards the S's for the final time. As we hit 0 on the timer, it's Cotterman versus Sanford, Porsche versus Lamborghini as we head up the hill through the S's in towards Oak Tree. It turns 11 and 12. The gap now 5 and a bit tenths of a second. Cotterman now will get it on the anchors. He's got to make sure he does not make a pig's ear coming out of turn 12 at Oak Tree like he did last time around. This time, bumps over the curbing, neat and tidy from the Porsche. But now this is where the grunt of that naturally aspirated 5.2 litre V10 Lamborghini power plant comes into its own. But it might be the case that he may not get the run that he needs. Stephen Flurry and the number 71 Ferrari, meantime, has got the black flag from race control into the roller coaster for the final time. As far as Ibrahim has ended up in pit lane, and it's now through in towards Hogpen for the final time. Cotterman versus Sanford, they've got, that's Marcus Monson, I think, just ahead of them, but it's going to be coming out of Hogpen for the final time. As week 4 comes to a close here for Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3, it is going to be Jed Cotterman who's going to push it to the line, kicking and screaming that flat 6 boxer engine, and he's going to take the win by next to nothing. 0.2 of a second separates first and second. Great job by Aaron Sanford to take P2 behind Jed Cotterman. We've next up got to wait, and what a job by Chet Miller. Started 3rd, finishes on the rostrum here at V.I.R in the Corvette Z06 GT3R. Well done to him. And more to the point, it is going to be the case that our biggest movers will, well, our biggest mover of the night will be the person who'll cross the line in 8th position, who will come across shortly. Jamie MacArthur takes P4. It's then going to be Jeff Sanders a little bit further back, the man who was leading the standings after week 3 at Watkins Glen. He takes 5th. Dennis Crosby is going to take 6th position in the number 22 Ford, and then Brennan McCurdy, who made up 7 spots, but Doug Betts in the number 3 for Turn 3 Esports. He's had a topsy-turvy race in that Porsche 992 GT3R. He comes out of the final corner. He started 17th. He's going to finish 8th.
Yeah, what a race by Doug Betts, man. And in a race where we saw, like I said at the top, stretching out like an accordion, it came down to 0.2 of a second between the two leaders. But Doug Betts, he had to fight through that accordion as well, like you said, starting 17th and finishing 8th. One heck of a day for the Turn 3 esports driver.
Yeah, Jeffrey Strong and then the recovering Joao Baptista round out your top 10. Last few finishers coming across the line. Kenneth Cupping up in 11th, Brandon Banks 12th, Oliver Brooks 13th. And I think last but by certainly no means least, Marcus Monson is going to come across the line, and he is going to cross it in 14th position. So well done to him. But that is all our runners and riders across the line here at week 4 out of 8 for the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 League for our last time here in 2025 on the Racer Nexus Network. Let's take you through the final finishing order. Jed Cotterman, victorious once again, Road Atlanta, Road America, and now he can add V.I.R to his list of accolades for this season of the series, and he wins by 0.179 of a second ahead of Aaron Sanford. Great job by Jed on that one. Chet Miller takes P3, Jamie MacArthur P4, Jeff Sanders, Dennis Crosby, Brennan McCurdy, and the biggest gainer of the night, Doug Betts, making up 9 spots to finish 8th ahead of Jeffrey Strong and Joao Baptista, who rounds out our top 10. Kenneth Cupping, Brandon Banks, Oliver Brooks, Marcus Monson, and Faraz Ibrahim round out our top 15. And our last few runners and riders, Jesse Chase, Stephen Flurry, and Kobe Brooks and Brawson Jones rounding out the 19 finishers. Well, with that in mind, let's head to our post-race interview show, because I know we've got a couple of people standing by. Let's see if we can bring our race winner in for round 4. Jed Cotterman, good evening. That was a bit of an interesting one for you tonight.
Yeah, I would be really good, and then I would have a couple terrible laps, and then I'd be really good, and then I would just fall off. I don't know if it was me, the tires, getting tired. I'm sure it was all 3, but great race, man. I don't know that I could have held Aaron off any. I mean, if we had to go 5 more laps, he was all over me.
Yeah, well, he after you came out of Oak Tree on the penultimate lap, I mean, you had a bit of a moment, Code Brown coming out of turn 12, and I thought, don't lose it now, don't lose it now. And you managed to get through back on him at the roller coaster. You're just using that slipstream. But still, V.I.R always provides great racing, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. And, it's never been one of my strong tracks, but I've got enough laps around here that I'm comfortable, I think is an accurate way to say it. And then I had a buddy in my ear just kept telling me, what was going on, and I'm braking too hard here, slow down here, we need to save a little fuel here. So it was a combination. I'm not going to take credit for all of it. Mike was in my ear helping me, so I could have done it without him.
And that now means that you retake the standings lead heading into the new year.
Does it?
Yeah.
I knew, I wasn't quite sure where Jeff finished, but he had a heck of a gap. So he either finished 4th or 5th.
He finished 5th in the end.
Well,
so
I know
might be close.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. He might have it by a little bit, but he's such a great, clean racer. He and I talk almost daily in Discord, and it's a fun little rivalry that we've got, or a battle. It's not really a rivalry. I guess that's not very fair to say to him, but no, it's so much fun. I think no matter where you're at, skill level, whether you're a very beginner or you're getting proficient in your craft here, I mean there's racing for everybody, and I think that's what I like about it the most.
Well, congratulations on heading to victory lane here at V.I.R, Jed. Before we let you go, and firstly, on behalf of everyone here at Racer Nexus, we want to wish you and everyone here at the league a happy new year and all the very, very best for a prosperous 2026. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I'm going to keep giving a shout out to just everybody in the league. Without them, we don't have one. We had quite a few new guys, and I hope their first impression was one that wants them to come back. And as always, kudos to you guys in the booth. I always go back and watch the broadcasts, and they're absolutely great. I've got no complaints. I just gonna keep coming out and trying to win this championship and stay ahead of Jeff as much as I can.
And Jed, thanks so much for your time, buddy, and all the very best. We'll see you on January 3rd at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, for the second half of the season.
All right, awesome. You guys have a great night. Happy New Year to you too. Thanks.
Big thank you there to Jed Cotterman, and we've got the man who finished just under 2/10 behind him in the 958 Lamborghini. Aaron Sanford joins us. Aaron, good evening.
How's everyone tonight?
All good, all good. Your race nearly didn't get off to the greatest start, let's be completely honest, on the formation lap. What happened?
Getting a little overzealous on my warming up, a little zigzaggy, and off to the grass I went. Luckily, everyone in this league's very nice and let me come back to the front. Probably without that, I probably couldn't have finished where I did.
But still, you closed that gap to Jed lap after lap. I think at one point, after the pit stops, we saw that you were about 3.7 seconds behind him. You slowly reeled him in. It nearly became sort of like the tortoise versus the hare situation. But you had that window of opportunity on that penultimate lap going through Oak Tree where Jed just got a little bit crossed up, didn't he?
He did, and Jed is a very clean, consistent racer. So I knew if he made a mistake, I had to capitalize. But luckily, it worked out in his favor. He definitely did a little side draft coming up the back straight, got me on the braking zone on the roller coaster. But it's always fun. Try to run clean and hard.
Yeah, and still a nice result to round off week 4 of the series. Thoughts ahead of WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca? Are we going to see you in the Lamborghini for that one?
Don't know. I'm like Jed. Normally I stick to the Porsche. I just happened to throw the Lamborghini on this time, and luckily in this league we can switch up to like 2 times. So I wanted to try something different. I was setting a really quick pace in that car. It was a little more forgiving to me, so I went with that this week.
Well, Aaron, firstly, on behalf of us here in the booth, we want to wish you and your family a very happy new year ahead of a prosperous 2026. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just like Jed was saying, you guys there in the booth doing a great job. Keep it definitely interesting for sure. All the guys in the league and definitely the admins putting it on. I know they put a lot of work in behind the scenes. So I just appreciate all that work and look forward to more races in the season. And Happy New Year to you guys.
Brilliant. Aaron, we'll see you in 2026, round 5 at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Well done tonight.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Big thank you there to Aaron. And, we've actually got Jamie MacArthur's decided to jump into the booth in the number 75. Jamie, how are things over with you? Jamie, can you hear us?
Maybe some technical difficulty. I'm not entirely.
Maybe some technical difficulties. Well, you know what? I mean, Mac, what a race to conclude the first half of the Breaking Bad's Pushing Limits season. Your final thoughts before we close out the show?
It was amazing. V.I.R, it's got high speeds, it's got heavy braking, it's got light braking like we saw. Not as much chaos going over the crest, going down into the double right-hander. Oak Tree, I believe, is the name of it. And, these guys just kept it clean. For a race league to have 1,500 I-rating cap, these guys sure do know how to race clean. Yes, there was some bumping. Yes, there was some banging. That is to be expected on all levels all disciplines, all forms of motorsport. And these guys, they just took it on the chin. They kept going. No one got malicious. No one got, overzealous. No one, got egotistical with their overtakes. It was just good, clean racing, and, it's a symbol. It happens every week here in the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 series. And, if you guys don't know, now you know kind of thing. These guys are legit. These guys are the real deal.
Exactly. So a big thank you to everyone that has been watching on the Racer Nexus network here for us for week 4 out of 8 for the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits GT3 series here at V.I.R. The series will be back in 2026 as we'll head to the first part of the second half of the season as January 3rd, 2026 sees us head to WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, in wine country in Salinas, California. There's plenty of action still to come on Racer Nexus in the build-up to 2026. We've got Apex, this Mazda Cup. We've also got Throttle Freaks coming up for GT3 week 1 at Imola on the day before New Year's Eve, and also Apex this GT4, which will be heading to their next round of the series. Don't forget, if you we have to say a big thank you first of all to trackcams22.com, the track cams for gourmets who provide all our coverage here. Also the recently signed sponsor that's going to be backing the remainder of the Breaking Bad Pushing Limits series. And also, if you want to get a cheeky little 5% discount from our friends at Apex Sim Racing Shop on checkout, use the code Racer Nexus. That's all lowercase, all one word. You've been in the company of myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and also alongside me in the booth, Mac Nelson. We've been your commentary team for tonight here on Racer Nexus. If you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe. We wish you all the very, very best for a prosperous 2026. So in other words, Happy New Year from us here in the booth. And until next time, race hard, race fair, and we'll see you out on track.